All right, good afternoon, everybody. Chris Piper, Virginia Department of Elections. So far, so good. No news is good news, as they say. We're not reporting any long lines. We've had smooth voting throughout the Commonwealth. We do anticipate more voters from 5 to 7, as is typical on every election day. We continue to encourage voters to go to vote.virginia.gov to check their location before they head to the polls. You can drop off your absentee ballot to the polling place or the General Registrar's office until 7 p.m. If there are any issues with your registration, you are entitled to a provisional ballot. And last but not least, as has always been the case, if you are in line at 7 p.m., you will be able to cast your ballot. As I mentioned this morning, I'd like to go over how election night reporting will go today. So election night results will populate as they have in the past, with precincts coming in from each locality beginning after the polls close at 7 p.m. All mail-in voting and early in-person voting will be reported in each locality's central absentee precinct, otherwise known as a CAP. While absentee ballots can be marked received and scanned prior to Election Day, no vote totals can be determined until after the polls have closed. The Department of Elections gave localities a cutoff time of 11 p.m. to stop processing ballots and report those numbers. Counting will resume on Wednesday. Some localities may report earlier than 11 p.m. Absentee ballots can be accepted until November 6th at noon if postmarked on or before Election Day. So, again, counting will continue through the week. After tonight, CAP totals will be updated after localities complete their processing and tabulations following the noon deadline on Friday, November 6th. At this point, I can't give you exact totals of what localities have gotten through, but they've been working hard to get through most of the ballots. Localities will certify their results on November 10th, and the State Board of Elections will meet November 16th for the final certification. And with that, I'm happy to take your questions.
Could you talk a little bit about the issues that we saw this morning? They've all been kind of worked out and everything, and you said everything's been going pretty smooth today. Any other hiccups or anything along those lines?
Nothing that we've not had any reports of any voting being impeded in any form or fashion. There's been minor hiccups, things that we expect to see, but everything has allowed voting to continue as normal.
Matt Demline, WRVA.
Nothing that we've reports of any voting.
Matt?
Minor hiccups.
Okay. We'll go to Rodrigo Ariasa with Richmond Magazine.
Have there been any additional reports of people who arrived at the polling place only to find that they were being told they had already voted, and have you seen any issues with that?
So if I understood the question, were there any issues reported of people going to the polling place and unable to, or had been told that they had already voted? Is that correct?
That's correct.
I haven't heard any reports of that. Again, if a voter has been told that their ballot has already been cast, we encourage them, and they're confident that they did not cast their ballot, then we would ask them to request a provisional ballot.
Can everyone on the phone please mute yourselves?
So do we have any better idea now as to how many counties will be able to report their cap totals before 11?
So the question is, do we have any idea how many localities could report their cap totals before 11? It would be impossible to say at this point. But I do believe that that the localities have been able to get through a lot of processing, and so I think we're in good shape here in Virginia. But we just won't know for sure until we get through the night.
Andrew Kane, Richmond Times-Dispatch. Okay, we'll go to Anna Lay with the Virginian Pilot.
Hi, yes, I have a question about how you're handling results. I'm curious, will you be breaking down the number of outstanding absentee ballots by district or locality? That is, the number requested, the number counted, and the number still outstanding?
So at this time, the question was, will we be breaking them down by the number of ballots still outstanding? And at this time, we don't have an exact number, a precise number of ballots outstanding. Because ballots have been surrendered in person at the polling place or may have been dropped off. So a more precise number will be available or should be available tomorrow and in the coming days as more ballots are received. That said, tomorrow you'll start to see more precise numbers of percentages of ballots returned, and that will be updated tomorrow morning, displayed by congressional district and by locality on our website.
Bridget Manley with the Harrisonburg Citizen.
Hi, thank you. Apologies if this has already been asked. I was having some apologies if this was already asked. I was having technical difficulties. But between one at the last update and now, have you had any reports of voter intimidation, harassment, anything at the polls?
The question being, have we had any reports of voter intimidation or harassment at the polls? We have not had any such reports. So far, it's been a very smooth day throughout the Commonwealth.
Daniela Cheslow, WAMU. All right. Amy Friedenberger, Roanoke Times.
Hi, yes, thank you for doing this. I was curious if you had any information about how many ballots, absentee ballots through Saturday are going through the cure process, and if there was going to be any locality by locality breakdown of that to kind of indicate how many ballots have been cast that could be fixed and counted by, I guess, November 6th.
There won't be a statewide count of that. Encourage you to reach out to the localities directly. The question was if there would be a breakdown of the number of ballots needing to go through the cure process or ballots that needed additional information in order to be cast.
Greg Schneider, Washington Post. Greg?
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, I wondered if you could tell us whether each locality will count absentee votes last after all the precincts have been counted.
So the question was, will absentee ballots be counted last after all the precincts are voted? It honestly depends on the locality. I think in most cases, they'll still be processing through absentee ballots received through the mail. So those are probably in the last batch, but it would be very dependent on each locality.
Danner Evans with ABC 13. Okay, we'll go to Bruce Potter, Inside Nova.
Good afternoon, Mr. Piper. Quick question to make sure I understand. The central absentee precinct numbers will be reported tonight and then reported again Friday at noon. Will they be updated anytime in between that, or is it just two distinct reports of those numbers?
So the question is, will the central absentee precinct numbers be updated anytime between tonight and Friday afternoon? No, we'll have those two distinct updates. I want to be clear about something because I do want to make this point. I'm not sure I made it very clearly earlier. We gave them a cutoff time at 11. I want to ensure or make sure that doesn't mean that everybody's going to be updating all of their numbers right at 11. It will take them time to tabulate those results, and so they will be coming in throughout the night, but if they haven't reported by 11, we expect them to report sometime after 11. I want to make sure that's clear. And then again, with the report or the updated numbers at afternoon on Friday, so the deadline for the ballots to come in is noon on Friday. And so that means that there could be some processing that occurs through Friday and maybe even into Saturday or Sunday. So those numbers, that cap, may not be updated right at noon on Friday, but in the hours and even days afterwards. So just want to be clear on that.
So we heard reports today that there were maybe some elected officials maybe breaking some campaigning laws by a polling place in Richmond, and that state police came out and possibly some people from the registrar's office as well. Can you offer any clarification on what was happening there?
We haven't had any direct reports of that at this point, and I'll look into it further and get back to you. The question was about political candidates and disruptions at local polling places, but I don't have any information to provide on that issue.
Julie Carey, NBC4. Okay. Evan Watson, 13 News. All right. Is Robert Zullo, Virginia Mercury, on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Just curious if you're aware of any issues involving people wearing masks inside polling locations.
The question was any issues involving people wearing masks. I think there's been some reports, with not wearing masks in the polling place. We've had some reports, but nothing, not widespread, and certainly no major issues resulting from that.
Of the reports you've gotten, what's happened? What's been the outcome of the ones where people are not wearing masks?
Exactly, to my knowledge, exactly what we provided as guidance, which is offer the voter an opportunity to cast their ballot. Well, first offer them a mask if they're available, then offer them the opportunity to vote curbside. Failing all of that, the voter has the opportunity to vote in person. But we continue to encourage voters to wear a mask.
The Friday, why not provide totals, Wednesday, Thursday, before then on the absentee? Why wait till Friday on that? Or could county or precinct or registrars provide before Friday if they're done counting, if they know they have?
So without getting into, the question was why not update vote totals through the week? And the reason being is that once we close down a machine to tabulate and provide the vote counts, that machine is unusable after that point in time. So the point is to give the opportunity for the localities to continue to tabulate through the deadline on Friday at noon and then update their totals at that point.
So the machines they use tonight are not the machines they'll use on Friday then?
That's correct.
Antonio Oliva, Washington Post. All right. John Blackwell, Richmond Times-Dispatch.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So we heard some complaints that voters at one location who were wanting to do curbside voting and were expecting to do that from their car were required to get out and to go into a tent at the location, and that included some elderly voters. I'm wondering, have you guys heard anything about that? And what are the rules regarding whether people can be required to get out of their car at curbside voting?
The question was regarding curbside voting and a potential issue with, I guess, a polling place requiring voters to get out of the car. I haven't heard anything about that directly, but certainly if that's an issue somewhere, we will look into it. A curbside voter is offered the opportunity to cast their vote curbside.
From their car?
Yeah, from their car, yes.
What do you know
I have
about?
one quick follow-up. Can I do that?
Yeah,
Sure.
go for it.
Sorry if you've already addressed it, but do you have any numbers or data or any indication at this point of the actual in-person turnout today?
Anything that we would have would be anecdotal, so we don't track that at the state level.
Thank you.
The Freelance Star is reporting that Kanye West is still on ballots in Caroline County. What's your comment on that? And is that happening? What's going to happen to votes where? What does that mean if he's on the ballot when he's not supposed to be? And is that happening in more than one location?
So the question was about Kanye West appearing on the ballot in Caroline County. So the court order from back in September was that if ballots had already been printed with the candidate's name on them, they were not required to be destroyed. So some, at least in Caroline and one other locality that I'm aware of, Mr. West's name is still appearing on the ballot. Essentially, you talk to the locality about how exactly they're going to report that, but Kanye West did qualify as a write-in candidate for Virginia, so in this instance, he would, if a ballot was cast with his name, he would show up as a write-in. That said, the instructions to the localities were to provide notice to the voters that Kanye West was disqualified from the ballot. And in every locality, or in each instance, this Caroline County did do that. It's included with the ballot when they mailed it out.
Lyndon German, Richmond Free Press.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. My question also pertains just to voter intimidation or any sort of conflicts that occurred at the polling places. I know that you already kind of reiterated that you haven't received any reports, but to be more specific, have you received any reports from campaign volunteers or staffers that have been at the polling places in any violations as far as voter intimidation or disruptions?
The question again was on voter intimidation, any reports thereof. We haven't gotten anything specific at the statewide level. Again, reiterate that Virginia has had a very smooth day of voting throughout the Commonwealth.
Jill Palermo with the Prince William Times. All right, I don't think Joe's there, so we can wrap up.
Okay. Thank you all again. We will convene here again at 9 p.m. with one last update for the night. And I thank you all for being here and look forward to seeing you again at 9 p.m. Have a great day.